BetterHelp is one of the biggest YouTube sponsors of the past decade and was exposed for exploiting vulnerable users, using unqualified therapists, and selling sensitive user data.
And no one cares.
It seemed like the scandal was the end of them, with tens of thousands of users unsubscribing, hundreds of angry comments on video sponsors.
Yeah, see, GMM. I'm surprised GMM would have BetterHelp as a sponsor considering what a privacy nightmare they are. That's what I'm saying! I watched Good Mythical Morning one time and they were like crying in the comments section. I didn't even know about it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think people even knew about it that much, to be honest. It wasn't like national headlines or anything.
By BetterHelp, and their parent company stock crashing 97%. But now they're back, sponsoring more creators than ever. But are they actually better?
No, probably not. Ooh.
Anxiety, depression, and many other mental health disorders are huge challenges for many. Not only that, but they've been on the rise for some time. Yet,
you wanna know why? Because VTubers. Yeah, that's why they're on the rise again. There's a big spike.
Simultaneously, traditional therapy is inaccessible to many people. It's expensive, it requires physical presence, and is frankly just—
Ooh, in America it costs like hundreds of dollars per month, man. No joke. Per session, excuse me, not per month. God, Lord, what am I saying? Per session, man. It's crazy!
Less flexible than what online services usually offer. That's where BetterHelp came in. They launched in 2013 and they seemed like a game changer. Patients signed up and were matched with a therapist and had sessions via call, text, video, whichever they were most comfortable with. If they didn't connect with their therapist, they could be matched to a new one. No cost.
Actual therapists had to keep up with people like this that made it more accessible online, which I think is a good thing in my opinion. Having like actual qualified therapists do the same thing instead of making you like, you know, drive or go whatever for the session is better for the client.
Cost, no hassle.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it was cheaper than most traditional practices, meaning that therapy was now far more accessible to those who needed it, which is great. Over
the Walmart of therapy, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's gonna be good. It's like Little Caesars. It's like, is it good? It's hot and it's ready. But is Little Caesars good? It's hot and it's ready.
the coming years, BetterHelp started building momentum. By 2018, they were sponsoring thousands of YouTubers, and the company exploded in popularity. The pandemic had confined everyone indoors, and demand for remote therapy was at an all-time high. BetterHelp naturally capitalized on this opportunity by spending more than $7 million on podcast sponsorships in December of—
That's smart. That is very smart. Reinvesting into advertising during a crisis like COVID, yeah. That's good. That's a good business move. I don't blame them for that, but we'll get into what happens.
2020 alone, they spent $38.7 million in total for 2020, making them the highest spender on podcasts. But during BetterHelp's rise, the cracks slowly began to appear. Firstly, users started reporting some strange experiences with their platform, many of which had a common theme.
My first therapist was 10 minutes late to our 10-minute meeting, our first initial meeting. And then she was like, oh, wow, we don't have a lot of time. And then she kept
what?
trying to sell me her book. So I contacted them and I got a different therapist. He was also late and just completely missed our first meeting. We set a second one. He missed that one. And then he just texted like, oh man, I'm so sorry. I was at my other job. And I was just like, what?
Oh my god, man. Imagine the mental too. Like, what if you're like really sad and you really need to talk to someone, and then the therapist is like late? And they're like, yeah, sorry, I didn't have enough time for you, bitch.
The quality of therapists varied wildly. Some saw their therapist cooking or shopping mid-session, which naturally makes patients feel uncomfortable. One patient, after discussing career goals, had her therapist send her a patronizing YouTube video to watch after their session that—
Oh my god. Oh my god. Here's why you're sad. You should go outside more often, bitch.
Told her, it's natural to want to do big things, even if it's never going to happen for you. Another patient had a therapist encourage them to put their baby up for adoption because their friend really wanted a baby. One Reddit
What? Are you what? How does that even make sense? Explain that one to me. I need more details. What? When I signed up for BetterHelp, I was with a therapist that wasn't really responsive. I solicited a change of counselor. This time, I could pick somebody. I went for one that looked right for me. It was very responsive. On the very first day, we arranged our first video chat. It was a bit odd, but some of the things he said made sense. So I decided to book another video chat for the next day. Little did I know I was about to be humiliated and belittled by this man. The tone of the conversation was completely different. He implied that his life was almost perfect and that I should be like him. Oh my god, they signed up a narcissist for him! He also used his age to say I didn't know anything about life. I felt that everything I said was being used against me. At a certain moment, he wanted to imply that I had signs of narcissism in me, and having suffered from narcissistic abuse pretty much my whole life, that was very hard to hear. Oh my god, it's actually a narcissist! They hired a narcissist! They don't do vetting. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. When you get so popular, they probably just like hired some fucking schizo off the street.
Reddit user shared a horrifying experience. He implied that his life was almost perfect and that I should be like him. At a certain moment, he wanted to imply I had signs of narcissism in me, and having suffered from narcissistic abuse pretty much my whole life, that was very hard to hear.
I can imagine.
I had never felt this unsafe with a therapist before. He admitted himself to being a narcissist. I couldn't stop crying, and every time I tried to say something, I would cry even more. He then said, now you have 1 minute to share your final thoughts before our time is over. Thankfully,
oh my god, I would never go to therapy ever again, man. They basically hired a call center to answer real people, not real doctors. No, seriously, that's like actually insane. That would be heartbreaking. You would never want to go to a therapist ever again after that.
this user received the therapy they needed outside of BetterHelp. However, despite their trauma and only using the service for less than a week, BetterHelp only refunded 50% of the month's subscription. Putting the money aside though, what the hell was going on there? How are so many BetterHelp therapists so awful? Well, as it turns out, BetterHelp employed many unqualified therapists. According to them, it was the patient's job to verify if the therapist was qualified.
What? That's like going to a mechanic and being like, oh, well, I want my car fixed. And they're like, oh, yeah, you should verify if they're a mechanic or not. It's like, oh my god, man. That's so fucked.
This one says that they don't guarantee the verification of the skills, degrees, qualifications, certification, credentials, competence, or background of any counselor. With better
That's hilarious. That's how they get out of being sued. That's probably why they didn't get sued for this.
help, you'll be talking to professionals. Just beware that it's your responsibility to determine whether they are or not. It's your responsibility to determine whether they have any degree or qualification or certification or all these things.
Once users
Wouldn't that be like false advertising though? If you're putting a clause like that, but then you're selling a professional health like therapist? That's insane to me.
learned of this, the controversy exploded. BetterHelp quickly removed this from their terms in 2018, but the damage had already been done. The evidence was damning. If vulnerable patients experience horrible therapy, it can very well prevent them from getting help in the future, even from traditional practices.
My one session with a BetterHelp therapist re-traumatized me to the point where I don't know if I'll ever go back to therapy again.
Shocking.
What if the person that signed up, like, they're so evil that they signed up to like ruin people's lives? Do you think they could like do that? That narcissist that they talked about in the Reddit post, that guy's just like a schizo that like tries to ruin people's lives by giving them horrible advice and shitting on them. Oh my god, man.
That's not even the end of it. BetterHelp was concealing another massive problem that caught the eyes of the US government.
Uh-oh.
Somehow, BetterHelp returned. The company has recently emerged with a wave of new YouTube sponsorships and a brand new marketing campaign. In Q3 of 2022, they sponsored 392 YouTube videos. 1 year later, they sponsored just under 2,000 videos. In March of 2024 alone, they spent $8.2 million on podcast.
That's insane for like an online business for marketing. That's insane.
Advertising. Their marketing strategy is aggressive as they are determined to recover their brand image and to claim back their market share. But have they improved their service? Well, their number of therapists has increased dramatically. In 2021, they had a total of 16,000 therapists. But
Yeah, but are they good? Yeah, we hired some Walmart guy off the street.
by 2024, they have 34,000, a massive leap. What BetterHelp really needed though wasn't quantity, it was quality. BetterHelp states that it only accepts 15% of therapists who apply, but the testimonies are still concerning. In 2024, a clinical psychologist tried the platform as a client and had a strange experience with their therapist. Seemed ill at ease and unsure how to proceed, she made inappropriate self-disclosures about her own health problems. When I mentioned the problem with night eating, I saw a weird expression come across her face, and she mentioned that she struggled with the same problem. Without
That's like therapist 101. You don't do that, bro.
much assessment, she offered solutions that were absurd. She suggested I monitor the night eating and give yourself a star as a reward. He described that his second therapist threw out a bunch of tips from her therapy trick bag and hoped that some might stick. And while they seemed like plausible
Dude, fucking McDonald's has more quality control than this, man.
solutions, she didn't investigate my experience in detail enough to know if they could be appropriate. The structure and setup of the platform may make therapists jittery, pressing them into achieving quick results and using superficial interventions. Another user who tried the platform stated, "My therapist was great, but definitely was not 100% present. She seemed distracted." BetterHelp still seems to place an emphasis on quantity over quality. This is bad, but it's made even worse by how BetterHelp markets its service. In 2020,
In quantity over quality, they also do that to drown out any criticism with sponsors. No, that's obscene, man. I still see BetterHelp sponsors all the time. Even on videos we watch, man.
the journalism website Jezebel began investigating something unsettling. As it turned out, BetterHelp was taking users' extremely personal information and is selling them to advertisers. Jezebel
Oh, that's how they get the money for advertising. That's where they're getting all that moolah, chat. Yo, chat, I'm taking your data and selling it to Facebook. To the lizard man?
stated that they began to silently slip data to dozens of third parties, monitoring our behavior online and signaling to companies like Facebook and Google and Snapchat and Pinterest that we were considering BetterHelp treatment. Facebook, for instance, is alerted every time a person opens the app, essentially signaling to the social media company how often we were going to a session and when we booked our appointments.
Oh my god, and then they can use advertising on Facebook to beat you when you're down and be like, "Oh, you want to buy some chocolate, fatty? Are you sad? Go buy some chocolate, fatty." Oh my god. That's insane.
BetterHelp didn't even deny the allegations as they didn't see the issue. They stated that their methods were standard and that they typically far exceed all applicable regulatory.
Or even worse, the guy that was having night eating problems, they start advertising McDonald's to him at like 2 a.m. so that he goes and buys a McDonald's. Oh my god. That's evil, man. Maybe I should be an evil corpa borpa. I think I'd be pretty good at it.
Ethical and legal requirements. However, this didn't exactly comfort users. Word of these practices soon spread and people were outraged. This was an immense breach of privacy. Many online platforms do sell user data, but this was different. Traditional therapy has something called patient privilege. Information shared between a patient and their therapist is completely confidential because the details are extremely personal. Maybe it could be argued that app users' data is not technically covered by patient privilege, but it's definitely in gray area. I suppose BetterHelp forgot to mention this.
Well, yeah, it's a gray area because it's not actually a therapy. Like, you know, it's not actually an office, it's an online center.
In their list of benefits over traditional practices. A storm was growing around BetterHelp, and it was about to get worse. The US Federal Trade Commission took action against BetterHelp, and the list of accusations was damning. To
You do not fuck with the FTC, man.
capitalize on these consumers' health information, BetterHelp handed it over to numerous third-party advertising platforms, including Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, and Criteo, often permitting these companies to use the information for their own research and product development as well.
Oh my god! Just straight up, that's how they got the money, man. Do you know how valuable, like, your data is invaluable? That's why Google scrapes your data constantly.
BetterHelp also failed to provide consumers with proper notice as to the collection, use, and disclosure of their health information. The company didn't admit to any charges, but was ordered to pay $7.8 million in refunds to 800,000 patients.
Oh, that's like nothing. They probably make way more than that. That's a slap on the wrist for them.
Which equated to a pitiful $10 per person. Most importantly though, BetterHelp was forbidden from sharing consumers' personal information for retargeting, among many other restrictions. BetterHelp's reputation was ruined, and many YouTubers promoting them started receiving severe backlash. After this, BetterHelp went quiet, at least for a while.
BetterHelp.
Oh my god, they sponsored the freaking lolcow. No shot. No, really? Frickin' Boogie, yeah, the Franco, who else? Oh, I don't know her, but you get the, yeah, Booger Man.
BetterHelp.
Classic.
Therapy can be expensive, and the price of finding a therapist that you like and connect with can be overwhelming, which is why BetterHelp offers a more affordable alternative to in-person therapy.
But therapy can seem like this big, intimidating thing, right? Well, that's where BetterHelp comes in, because their goal is to make therapy less intimidating and more accessible.
They consistently
Yeah, more intimidating when they match you with a therapist that tells you to freaking go to Home Depot. I imagine there's actually people who do that, man. Not Anthony and Jack. Hey, that could have been in the past before this happened, to be fair. Yeah.
position themselves as the cheaper, more accessible alternative to traditional practices. On their landing page, they list all kinds of benefits you get with BetterHelp, which you don't have at in-office practices. Benefits include messaging, texting, phone calls, video calls, worksheets, and much.
That's cap. That is absolutely cap. There's no way. I've met so many friends and I went to therapy once and they always let you message them. Even like professionals that cost like a lot of money, they let you message them and shit.
more. The problem
Yeah.
with this is that most of this is complete nonsense. Most professional in-office therapists offer most of these benefits, but that doesn't stop BetterHelp from putting a big red cross in all of these. BetterHelp isn't a replacement for traditional therapy. In fact, they even say this themselves. Our services may
No, wait! We may not be approved for every particular situation for certain mental health needs. They literally have a clause that says, hey, if you actually need therapy, I don't know if this is a good idea. Maybe go to a real therapist. Just a little fine print at the bottom. Love that.
not be appropriate for every particular
Yeah.
situation and or a substitute for certain mental health needs that might require in-person
Oh,
therapy
yeah.
services. The terms
Oh, yeah.
also continue to say, do not disregard, avoid, or delay in obtaining in-person care from your doctor or other qualified professional because of information or advice you received through the platform. BetterHelp's therapists also cannot diagnose any conditions, even though many are qualified to do so. It's fine.
What? So you're just literally selling something that's not, you're not helping. Yeah, they're covering their ass. The clauses that they seem to sell as a mental health provider, not a real therapist. Yeah, you're basically, they're selling the guise of a therapist, but really you're just selling a friend to talk to, I guess. Or not even a friend, because like friends probably wouldn't say horrible shit to you. Or at least I would hope not. Also, no prescriptions. I can't, man. These people are. I'm thankful I've never been approached by them because I don't think I could, in good conscience, like take a sponsorship like that. Because I knew about this like 2-3 years ago when this all started.
And for BetterHelp to supplement
Like,
other
Ashley
health
talked about it,
services.
too.
It's also fine for BetterHelp to not diagnose patients, given the appointments are over call or text. But BetterHelp doesn't advertise themselves as an addition to existing therapy. Their marketing promotes them as the solution and replacement. It leads people into using their service, even if it's not the best solution for them. But that's not even the end of it. If we look at the big picture, something else is going on at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is
Well, they're saying that they're not a solution, but then they also do this in the same breath. No, traditional therapy doesn't do this. Like, it's just misleading. It's weird. Where is it?
But that's not even the end of it. If we look at the big picture, something else is going on at BetterHelp. BetterHelp is actually owned by another company, Teladoc, which hasn't been doing so hot. Their shares peaked in 2021 at $293, and today they are down over 97% to
Wow, that's crazy. Overinflation from COVID times. Wow.
$8 a share, and their income is even worse. The company has burnt billions getting to where they are, and they still aren't profitable, having burnt $1 billion in the most recent 12-month period. We don't have BetterHelp specific financial data, but the data that we do have is already not in their favor. In Q3 of 2023, BetterHelp had 459,000 paying users. Next quarter, that dropped to 425,000, then down to 415,000. These numbers continue to drop in 2024, which illuminates what's actually happening with BetterHelp. Their recent surge in marketing isn't a triumphant, defiant return. It's a last attempt to survive. The controversies caused an exodus of users, and it seems that BetterHelp is struggling.
I don't think it did, to be honest. Did it really make that much of a difference? This is 2023. This started in 2021.
To hold on to the rest or replace the ones that are leaving. The company may have inflicted too much self-harm to bounce back. I know this video has largely been critical of BetterHelp, but BetterHelp is a great idea, just with poor execution. It solves a lot of problems and does fill a need, but the company has one massive issue: priorities. One doctor put this perfectly.
I don't even think it's priorities. I think that it's misleading. Misleading advertising and also pumping out a product that isn't. What's a good analogy? Like what could be comparable to this? It's like, I don't know, like McDonald's selling a Big Mac and then Big Mac not, the Big Mac still costing the same, but it's not actually a Big Mac. Yeah, they all like hear about is money and bringing in more people. They only offer 50% refunds, by the way. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, all you really care about is freaking money.
BetterHelp has the wrong incentives in mind and is not run clearly by people who have expertise in mental health. It's really run by people who have expertise in scaling tech companies.
Yo, wow, another scaling tech company fraudster. Wow, it's almost like it's happening in video games too. Satisfying the customer that is the stock investor. We don't actually give a frick about you. We give a frick about our money. Money!
There is a need for accessible, affordable support, but BetterHelp has their priorities all wrong. They don't focus on quality or providing the best care. They focus on scale and dominating the market.
Money.
We can clearly see this in a recent comment from Teladoc CFO. BetterHelp right now still has room to grow on the direct-to-consumer side. We have scale. I would expect us to continue to grow and drive efficient returns and cash flows for that business. BetterHelp may very well have room to grow, but they've hurt their chances by damaging their own brand. BetterHelp doesn't need to be bigger. It needs to be better. If you're interested in deeper dives,
How
interviews
ironic.
with insiders, and exclusive tech analysis, you can sign up to our free weekly newsletter. Link is below. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
It's about business. Business. Dystopian. I can't wait to talk to a therapist inside of my brain using my Neuralink. That was good! Wow! Guys, don't do BetterHelp. They probably fucking suck dick. Unfortunately, in America and in most places, therapy costs a lot, even if you're insured and stuff. It's a lot of money. Lot of money. Neuralink therapist sponsored by Meta. Yeah, and then they listen into your conversations and then they take that data and then sell it to Facebook for advertising on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, isn't that awesome? They inject in your dreams. Injecting ads. I want to get McDonald's ads and dream about eating Big Macs. Tasty, yummy.